Hello everyone. Today we are going to go over the 3 skills slope-intercept intro. Then I'm going to go over some examples from graph from slope-intercept form. And lastly, I'll be going over some examples from slope-intercept equation from graphs. So you may recognize this slide. This was in a previous video notes, but basically it's just reviewing the slope-intercept equation, which is y equals mx plus b, where m represents your slope and b represents your y-intercept, or where your line crosses your y-axis. Now remember, if you have a negative slope, it means that your line should be going down as you go left to right on your graph. And if you have a positive slope, your line should be going uphill or upwards as you go from left to right on your graph. A horizontal line means a slope of 0, and a vertical line means that you have an undefined slope. Okay, so let's start with the first example. Notice my equation is in slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. I've written that form here over on the right as well. So it's asking what the y-intercept is, and we know that b represents our y-intercept. So that means that -2 is your y-intercept. And remember, your y-intercept is always going to be where x is 0. So the coordinate for that y-intercept would then be 0, -2, which would be answer choice B. Here it's asking what is the slope of y equals 5x plus 1. Again, this is written in slope-intercept form. Y equals mx plus b. Your slope is represented by m, which means that your slope in this equation would be 5, which means that you'd be going up 5 over 1, up 5 over 1. Complete the equation of the line whose slope is 5 and the y-intercept is 0, 4. So that means m equals 5 and b equals 4. All you need to do is just plug those into your equation, giving you an equation of y equals 5x plus 4. What is the y-intercept of y equals -2 plus 6? Well, as you can see right here, your b is a positive 6, which means that your coordinate would be 0, 6, or answer choice C. Okay, let's talk about graph from slope-intercept form. Basically, you're going to have to graph lines in this skill. So they're giving you your slope-intercept form. It says graph y equals -x minus 6. So what I've done over here is just pulled out the information we need. So if it's -x, that means your slope is a -1, which means it's going down 1 over 1, down 1 over 1. And your y-intercept, which is right here, is a -6. So the first thing you want to do is on your graph, you want to go all the way down to where your y-intercept is and plot your point, which I have right here at -6. We mentioned our slope is a -1, which means it should be going downhill as you go left to right. And -1 means it's going down 1 over 1, down 1 over 1, down 1 over 1. If you can notice, I've plotted some points here. What I've also done is if it's going down 1 over 1, it's also going up 1 and then to the left 1 unit. Up 1 to the left 1 unit. So as you can see, I filled in a few additional points there and then drew my line through. Remember, a line goes on forever in each direction, so notice the arrow points on the end of it. Let's try another one of those. Graph y equals 4/5 x minus 7. My m is 4/5, which means it's going up 4 over 5. And my y-intercept is -7. So on my graph, I'm going to go down to -7 and plot my point. And then I'm going to just simply go up 4 and then over 5. And then I'm going to go up 4 again and over 5. And then I'm going to draw my line through those points that I've made. Y equals -2x plus 5. We have a slope of -2, which means, well, I actually reversed these. Hold on, let me fix that. So I think my line might actually be incorrect. So let's take a look. So my slope is actually -2, and my y-intercept is 5. So let's erase this line and fix it. Okay, so I'm going to draw a point at positive 5, which is my y-intercept, and my slope is negative 2, so I'm going to go down 2 over 1, down 2 over 1, down 2 over 1. You can put as many points in as you want. I'm also going to go in the other direction, which means we're going up 2 and to the left 1, up 2 and to the left 1. I'm going to get my line right here. Let's see, hopefully I can do this pretty straight. And I'm just going to draw my line through my points and then add my arrows onto the end. Let's change our line to another color. There we go. Okay, so that is the correct graph of the line. Okay, slope-intercept equation from graph. Let's do a few of those. Here they're going to give you a line that's graphed, and you're going to have to determine what the slope of the line is and what the y-intercept is. Well, the y-intercept's easy. Basically, that's just going to be where your line crosses your y-axis. So as we can see in this line, it crosses my y-axis at positive 5. So my b is a positive 5. Notice that I filled in some points here. Where I see the intersections are where I put my points. And then going left to right, I can see that I'm going down 2 over 1, down 2 over 1, down 2 over 1, which means my slope is a negative 2, which makes sense because the line's going downhill left to right, which means it should be a negative slope. Therefore, your full equation would be y equals negative 2x plus 5. And as you can see, I filled that information in up top. Okay, here's our next line. As we can see, it's crossing my y-axis at negative 5, which makes the b negative 5. And then I filled my points in where my intersections were. So going from my y-intercept to the next point, I'm going up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1, which makes my slope 1. So m equals 1. So your equation can be written a couple of different ways. It could be written y equals 1x minus 5, or it could be written y equals 1x plus negative 5. You can even eliminate the 1 in front of your x, because we know that if there is no coefficient in front of your variable, it's understood that it's a 1. So another way you could have actually written it is y equals x minus 5, or y equals x plus negative 5. If you notice in the equation they have up top here, they have an addition sign. So therefore, we're going to just plug this one in. Okay, here we can see that our line is crossing our y-axis at negative 3, which makes b negative 3. I filled some points in at the intersections, and I can see that to go from this point, my y-intercept, to the next one, I'm going up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2, which makes my slope 1/2. So your equation would be y equals 1/2 x minus 3, or written as an addition problem, it would be y equals 1/2 x plus negative 3. And as you can see, they have a plus sign here, so we would be using those numbers to fill in. Okay, the equation is 5y minus 3x equals 10. As you can see, this equation is not in slope-intercept form. Remember, your slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. So we need to rearrange it. So as you can see, the first thing I did was I moved negative 3x over to the other side of my equal sign. Whenever you move something to the other side, it changes to the opposite sign. So since it's a negative 3x, it's going to change to a positive 3x. So that's going to leave me with 5y equals 3x minus 10. And then to get y by itself, we're simply just going to divide through by 5, which cancels out. And whatever we do on one side, we have to do to each term on the other. So as you can see, I've divided 3x by 5 and negative 10 by 5. So that's going to leave me with a final equation in slope-intercept form of y equals 3/5 x minus 2, which makes your y-intercept -2, and your slope 3/5, which means it's going up 3 over 5. So let's go ahead and plot our points. My y-intercept is -2. From there, I'm going to go up 3 units and then over 5 units. So that would put a point right here. Up 3 over 5 would put another point right here. And then if you go back to your y-intercept, -2, you can also go down 3 and to the left 5. Down 3 and to the left 5, which would put another point right there. And that would be your line for this equation. Let's try another one. Okay, so again, we don't have an equation in slope-intercept form, so we want to put it into y equals mx plus b format. So the first thing that I did was I subtracted 4y on both sides to get my y's all to one side on the left. -3y and -4y is going to leave me with -7y, and we can see that it cancels out on the right hand side. So that leaves us with -7y equals 2x minus 14. I need to get y by itself, so I'm going to divide through by -7. What we do on one side, we have to do to each term on the other side, and that's going to leave us with a final equation of y equals -2/7 x plus 2, which means that our y-intercept is 2, and our slope, let's fill that in, b equals 2, and our slope then is -2/7. Now remember, this is your vertical change over your horizontal change. So that means because it's negative, you're going down 2 units, and then you're going to go to the right 7 units. So let's go back up here. My y-intercept is 2, so I'm going to plot that right here. And then I'm going to go down 2 units over 7 units. Okay, if we keep going, that's going to take us out of the graph. So I'm going to go back to my y-intercept. I'm going to go up 2 units and to the left 7 units. Then we can go ahead and draw our line through those points. Okay, again, similar type of problem. We need to get all of our y's on the left-hand side and all of our x's on the right-hand side. So the first thing I did here was I subtracted 6x. It cancels out. And what we do on one side, we do to the other. That's going to leave me with -2y plus 2 on the left equals -8x and -4x gives us -14x, and then -4 just comes down. So that leaves us with -2y plus 2 equals -14x minus 4. I'm going to move my 2 on the left next. It's a +2, so we're going to subtract 2 on both sides. That's going to cancel. What we do on one side, we have to do to the other. And that's going to leave me with -2y equals -14x. -4 and -2 gives me -6. To get y by itself, I'm going to divide each term by -2. We're going to cancel there. And then I'm going to divide both terms on the right by -2, which leaves us with a final equation in slope-intercept form of y equals 7x plus 3. Remember, I've got a negative divided by a negative, which gives me a positive. So that means that our y-intercept is 3 and our slope is 7. So I'm going to plot a point here on my line at 3. My slope is 7, which means I'm going up 7 units and over 1 unit. Okay, that takes us to the end of the graph there. So I'm going to go back to my y-intercept, and now I'm going to go down 7 units and to the left 1 unit. Down 7 units to the left 1 unit, which takes us off the graph again. And then we're just going to draw a line through those points. So that does it for those 3 skills. The correlating note-taking packet pages are 15 through 19. And also you can watch the videos in Khan Academy if you'd like to see additional examples. Please feel free to email me with any questions that you may have. Have a great day, everyone.